Hello everyone, this is Dr. Trashbag, and today I'm going over the update for 1.3 for Total War Warhammer 3. This is the developer diary going over it, and we've already had an update from Creative Assembly for this game, and it's interesting that we're having a second one this week. So I'm definitely excited that they are updating the game. I'm excited for Immortal Empires. It looks like this is going to be a smaller update compared to 1.2 and 1.1 because they are focusing on getting Immortal Empires up and running. That's basically a summarization of first two paragraphs. Regiments of Renown 2. Looks like we're going to get 7 new Regiments of Renown, so we should be getting 1 unit per Empire in Total War Warhammer 3. So we'll take a closer look when that arrives. I'll do a video on that. Character trait and skill tree reworks, a popular topic since the launch of Warhammer 3, that the traits received upon defeating legendary lords was kind of weak. And so it looks like they are looking at a way to do some adjustments to make it more rewarding when you defeat a legendary lord. That's always good. If you have a tough battle, you want to have a good reward for that. So I'm all about that update. Several skill trees will also be seeing some updates. This should not only improve the efficiency of your lords and legendary lords, but will help factions who have historically struggled with replenishing their armies. So think of armies like Siege and like that, where they're just having trouble replenishing their armies. Looks like Creative Assembly will be going over this more in the near future. Realm of Chaos, it looks like as they continue to tweak the Realms of Chaos campaign, several new changes are going to be implemented to address some of the more frustrating aspects identified by players. Maybe the Zeech realm, hint, hint. When an AI teleports to the Forge of Souls, players will now be prompted to teleport and confront them if they are in the position to do so. This should counteract the need to proactively camp the Forge of Souls until the AI appears. The final encounter with Belagor has been adjusted to be less time-consuming and punishing. Several tweaks have also coming to Zeech Realm. Good. That's always a nasty realm to go into. Specifically, the sigils will now be relevant when the player enters and exits a teleport locus. Action points used to move and position your armies will no longer be lost by interacting with the point of interest. Good. I hate it when I just move a little bit, click one of those teleport items, and you just lose all your movement. That's a little ridiculous. The AI must teleport 8 times before accessing the final area. Good, because they're able to speed through that little maze, and for a human player, that's not always the case. So these are good updates. The AI use of changing of the ways. The AI using of changing the ways. Zeech has been a notable pain point since the launch of the game. As such, 2 key changes are going to be made. Minor Zeech factions will no longer be able to use the changing of ways. Good. I definitely want to see that happen less often. The cooldown is being increased to prevent it from being abused by AI factions. Okay, cool. I think that'll make for a more smoother play for human players. Cathayan formation of attack, as promised earlier this year, adjustments have been made to improve Cathay's formation attack ability, both by adding additional melee defense and by updating the entity behavior so that the soldiers will be more actively seeking out engagements. Good. Yeah, I definitely don't like it when there's some units just not actively in the fight. Especially when I give them attack orders, then I look back and they're just standing there or attacking a unit that I did not tell them to attack. It's kind of weird. All right, Kurgan spawn rate. Several changes have been made to prevent Kurgan warband armies from spawning continuously, offering a vigilant Cathayan players a chance to play some well-earned moments of peace. Okay, good. I'll give you some more time to kind of build up your cities and settlements. Miao Ying now has Eye of the Storm, a much requested fix. Miao Ying will now be able to access her Eye of the Storm ability when in the dragon form as intended. Great. They'll make her more deadly in the battlefield. Unit responsiveness. Okay, so this is actually what I was talking about earlier. Several changes have been made to improve unit responsiveness in the game, from how units navigate settlements, entrances, and react to retreat orders, as well as how large units and heroes interact via synced animations. This is good. There's been too many times where I give an order and the unit just doesn't acknowledge that I made that order, or it takes a long time for them to do so. So these are good updates. AI focus on the back line. There are issues where AI armies would focus almost exclusively on backline units, and so this is being addressed to encourage more meaningful tactics in the battlefield. This should also address an issue during siege battles, which would compel the AI to scale walls and march through defending units to enter the city. Yeah, I've noticed sometimes in these siege battles, an AI army would actually prioritize capturing points versus killing your army, depending on where your units are placed. So, like if your units are on the wall, sometimes the AI army will just bash through the gate and then just go to the nearest capture point, and you're just sitting there shooting them, and that doesn't seem like a tactful decision. AI using abilities when they should not. There are a handful of instances that the AI would utilize abilities where the player could not. That is not intended, so they are ensuring that the abilities are limiting or are limited in such a way as they are for the player. Okay, I thought that meant like they're using abilities even though my units aren't close, because I've seen the AI using abilities and they're still in like artillery or archer range and they haven't actually made contact with my army front line yet. But no, there was something even more where they were able to use abilities where normal player would not be able to. Interesting. Plagues have been noted as exceptionally difficult to deal with, so we're making some adjustments to the duration and strength of attrition effects. Interesting. For Nurgle, this is like one of the things that kind of helps you out, and you have to like micromanage your plagues effectively because you're just so slow at building up that you kind of have to have the plagues to kind of weaken your enemy. I was definitely having fun playing against Nurgle with the plagues. I'm sure it's annoying playing against Nurgle and having a plague just decimate your army and cities garrisons. So yeah, that might be a little frustrating. So they're kind of adapting that. Land and domination battles are now in ranked, so matchmaking will now allow for both land and domination battles in ranked, a more variety to test your skills. Okay, cool. I don't do much in multiplayer, but I'm sure that is someone's jam. Moved from 1.3, while there is plenty more fixes and features coming with 1.3, all of which will be captured in the release notes. There's one project noted previously which has been bumped from the release. As with any project, we will continue to work on developing, testing, and implementing it as soon as safely possible. Okay, so they don't even tell you what it is, but they're working on something a little bit bigger than what was already mentioned. Increase the frequency of field battles campaign. We still want to ensure that there is a healthy mix of land, siege, and minor settlement battles as you play through the campaign, particularly based on player feedback about the number of siege and settlement battles. This will be fixed in a future update, and we'll let you know when we have an updated timeline, so it will be ready. So there are mods on the workshop where you can kind of reduce it or just basically turn it off for minor settlements. To reduce it, I think the settlement has to be like tier 2 or tier 3, and or has to have a defense building. So that way there are still siege and minor siege battles, but you have to have the settlement at a certain level, which kind of helps reduce it. So when will this update come out? Well, it's coming out in June 30th, which is, what is that, 7 days from when they announced this, which is today, the 23rd. So it should be coming out in a week from now. So finally, it's time to address the big question. Yeah, June 30th. Okay, don't worry, there'll still be plenty of news about Mortal Empires, even as we prepare and release 1.3. We hope you enjoy the latest additions to Total War Warhammer 3 as you wait, and we'll see you in the next week as we share more about both Immortal Empires and Update 1.3. Great. So it looks like they're coming out with updates. I think over time this game is just going to get better and better. I'm still pretty hopeful. Honestly, when I want to play this game, I still play Total War Warhammer 3 versus I know a lot of players are going back to Total War Warhammer 2. I just played a lot of Total War Warhammer 2, and I'm kind of ready for something a little different. But I am definitely ready for the big Immortal Empires map and try to do a takeover of the mountains with the dwarves, hold the lines with the Empire, and be a trade powerhouse with the High Elves. Definitely my three favorite factions. Although I've really been enjoying Nurgle lately with Total War Warhammer 3. So we'll have to see how that goes. Back with Total War Warhammer 2, I did actually enjoy playing Chaos, but I have to get some mods from the workshop to kind of make them a little bit more enjoyable. So I'm curious how they're going to update the Chaos Undivided. All right, well, comment below on what your favorite update is thus far, and I'll see you all in the next episode. If you're still watching, really appreciate just you watching, helps out the channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. As of this recording, I have about 55 subscribers, so every subscriber really helps out. All right, well, thank you all again. I'll see you all in the next episode.